There it is. What's up, everybody? It's Real Time with Prince Blue. Today is the 27th of September, and you may be wondering why. Well, first of all, let's get into this. I have a very special guest with me today. I have a person that's very strong voice in the autism community. She's doing a lot of things. She's writing books, coloring books. She's doing panels. She's one of the bright people that I think is going to bring a lot of attention to the autism community. And she's very strong about her beliefs and how going forward we can take care of autism. The one, the only Chante Douglas, aka Levi's mom, aka light skin, aka Chante with the chits. What's up, girl?
What's up, Prince? I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I am so proud of you. You worked so hard to get to this next level on your platform. I'm just, I'm just proud. Every time that you got the merch going, you just streaming all over the place, and then I got a chance to watch, not watch, read, not read. I'm getting tired. Listen to your podcast.
We just
Where
started. You already tired. Come
It's been
on,
a long
man.
day. I've been up since like 6 a.m. But
I got you.
yeah, so I listened to the podcast. I mean, I watched it live first and then I went back because I had missed some of it and I went back
Hmm.
and I listened to it and I'm like, Prince is doing a damn thing. Like it's such a good podcast to listen to. I mean, it's good to watch and it's great to be on your show, but to listen to it, you're just authentic, you're real, you're not about no bullshit, and I just appreciate and you just don't just talk about sports. You talk about um, other important things going on in our communities, what's going on in the world. So I appreciate you. So much respect to what you're doing.
Nope. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And you know what's funny? I've been on for what, 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and you didn't ask why I'm wearing a PlayStation hat.
Why?
I'm wearing a
Do I even want
PlayStation
to ask why?
Scully with these hot ass lights. I'm gonna tell you why I'm wearing a PlayStation Scully. Because
Why?
normally I wear a hat about my sports team: Phillies, Eagles, Sixers.
I
All
know.
three of them bastards don't make me proud today. So you know what? I'm gonna wear the hat of somebody who's never disappointed me, who's always there. I could just turn them on anytime I want. No, I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about the PlayStation. The PlayStation
Yeah.
always works, always
Oh my
on.
God.
All I gotta do is hit that button, and then it make that noise to me. It whispers to me. It be like, "Yo, I'm gonna take care of you today." Thank you, PlayStation. Thank you for being the shining light in the darkness, which is Philadelphia sports, you bastards. I'm gonna
I'm
get into
so
that
glad I
later.
wasn't home for that game. I was at an event. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Y'all had me
listen,
cracking up on Twitter though. I'm like,
that game was shit. Like, I sat in my chair for like an hour before I even got up and clapped and did something. I was like, what the hell am I watching? The
I went.
Bengals?
Yeah, like I kept checking in between like when I didn't have anybody at my table, so I would look and be like, oh, Goddard's hurt. Deshaun got a hamstring injury. What the hell is Carson doing? Fire Doug. Howie, you piece of shit. I was
That
like,
ginger bastard. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you what happened to Carson Wentz. It's the same thing that's happened to every man that was in his prime. He met a
what?
woman. He
Yo,
got married. Virgin Carson Wentz. He was in his bag.
he was playing with the
What
purpose.
Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz that got some what? He a dad now. He can't throw the ball. His
Oh man.
acne is gone. I want Carson Wentz to have pimples. That's the guy that was running all over the place, making plays. This
Oh my
Carson,
god.
I don't know if he's thinking about double ovens or how good his wife smell. I don't know what the fuck he be thinking about. But listen,
Oh my
oh
god.
2-1, that shit ain't gonna get it. This ain't hockey. You can't tie. The
And
hell?
to the Bengals of all teams, like that should have just been done and over with.
Have you ever been to Cincinnati?
No, yeah, actually, I have. When I was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is like a half an hour out of Cincinnati. I've been there like a couple times, but that's about it.
So it does fucking exist. Cincinnati's a real place. We lost to a Washington team with no name and a place that I'm not sure is on the map. That's the teams that we lost to. Ho fucking hum.
Oh my God.
What I don't understand, yo. Anyway, I told myself I wasn't gonna talk about them raggedy ass Eagles, so I'm not. But
All
I'm
right.
glad you got a laugh in because we're about to get into some really important topics. Two topics which are gonna coincide with each other, and that's the Tory Lanez and Meg The Stallion incident and domestic violence as a whole. Um,
Timeline, yeah.
you came to me and you said, bro, I want to speak out about the Meg The Stallion and Tory Lanez thing because you said you didn't like the way there was a lot of victim blaming and calling Meg a liar and stuff like that. And I thought about it, and I'm gonna give my take on it. But what exactly about the situation um made you decide that you needed to address it?
I just seen a whole lot of bullshit on my timeline, like on my IG stories, on Facebook, like ever since the whole situation happened when first it was like a running joke, like, oh, she got shot in the foot. And then I'm like, when is that ever funny? And then it's like, if you ever been in a domestic violence situation, no matter what level of the incident it is, it's never a joke and matter. So the fact that people think it's funny and now because this clown ass motherfucker, released a mixtape on the same day. This is what set me off. On the same day that we get that bullshit verdict about Breonna Taylor's murderers, he releases that mixtape, and then it's almost like I'm seeing all this stuff on Shade Room and where else did I see it? Yeah, like on my timeline, people just posting shit, and it was just like, well, was she really telling the truth? And this whole situation, let me tell y'all something. So when I went through the situation I went through with Ken, and me and you have talked offline when I've been in the middle of my trigger moments, and I told you, like, I didn't really tell you everything, but I told you enough that we've had those deep conversations about the situation with me and Ken. And that day, it was a lot of stuff I didn't even tell the cops because I felt like they wasn't going to believe me. And then I was triggered with the whole situation with Meg because I was gaslighted and victim shamed for a long time. Like, oh, it wasn't a big deal about what happened between you and Ken. And I didn't even tell the cops that a sexual assault had happened prior to him just going ape shit in my apartment. Only reason was because one, there wasn't any penetration. Two, it was like really just my word against his, just like the whole they dropped the aggravated assault charges because I didn't have any wounds, nothing was broken. But by the time we went to court, the swelling in my arm went down, all the bruises were gone. And then the stupid ass public defender didn't even show the pictures to the judge. So the judge is just sitting there like, well, to me, it just sounds like he pushed her. It was a push and shove type of thing. And I don't consider that assault. Oh, okay. So he can put his hands on me. But since, my face didn't get busted up or nothing, that's not assault. Like, fuck out of here. So, and then it was like my family really didn't support me. They thought that I was just blowing it out of proportion, which led me, that's why I never went to therapy. That's why it took so long for me to actually sit down and address everything that I went through, and then ended up having an emotional breakdown because of the victim shaming. And then it's like, it's so easy for people to get on social media and be like, well, she lying and all this shit. And it's just like, okay, so we're talking about, protecting our Black women and justice for Breonna, but in this situation with Meg, how does that not coincide with what's going on? Like, that's the shit that be pissing me off. And then talking about, well, his mixtape was fire. Like, fuck out of here. Like, those same people those same motherfuckers that is supporting him is the same dumbasses that support R. Kelly. So you're okay with a grown ass man fucking these underage girls, just like you okay with short ass Tory Lanez shooting Meg. And then the thing is, how the fuck is she lying when the gun is his? He was initially charged with having the gun in his possession. So please miss me with that bullshit. Like people just want to say stupid shit just to be saying it. And it's just like I don't even care whoever is like watching to unfollow me, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I said what the fuck I said. That's just it's easy for people who didn't go through any type of a toxic relationship and just sit there and say whatever the fuck they want to say. If you didn't live it, just shut the fuck up. Like that's plain and simple. Like that's just where I'm at with it. That's all I
Um,
got to say.
yeah. Well, you know, we've I'm very everybody already knows what I did for over a decade. I was a police officer. I've been in many domestic violence situations. Matter of fact, the one time, shout out to Jock Morris, my brother, our brother for life. I remember we went on this domestic call where this woman was just assaulted. We went to take her to get warrants because the boyfriend had left. Um, we stayed in front of the house, typing up the report, whatever, just in case he would decide to double back. Then a priority one call went, and then we had to go to that. And I kid you not, we get to that priority one call, and then we get a 911 call again that the boyfriend has returned. We hightail it over there. Um, she's outside. I mean, her face it looks like mangled hamburger meat. She's just bloody. She's bruised. And I just remember at that very moment, I just saw red because I was like, you ran when she called the cops,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like was a pussy move. You can hit on a woman, won't you stay and get this work? So as I get there, when I walk inside the house, I kid you not, I just saw red. They was trying to handcuff him. I kid you not, I don't know how I did it, but I walked over to him, I picked him up, and Morris told me his feet was off the ground, and there was a coat rack in the back of him near the wall. I kid you not, I hung him on the coat rack.
Oh
And
my
if it was
god.
and if it wasn't for Morris telling me, "Come on, Prince, take a walk outside, take a breather," I probably
Yeah.
would have lost my job that night.
Yeah.
So domestic violence is nothing to joke about. It's a serious thing. People
Mm-hmm.
die from
Right.
domestic violence. Like I said,
Absolutely.
if you gotta beat them, you don't need them, and that goes both ways, male and
Absolutely.
female. If y'all gotta do
Absolutely.
all that fighting and going on, then y'all don't need to be together. All that
Absolutely.
old school, I don't know if my man or my woman love me unless we fighting or arguing. That's nothing to brag about.
Right.
Um, so shout out to you, especially now because since it's a whole issue with police and no trust with police. You even mentioned it one time. You said that you didn't even after Ken just put his hands on you and had a
Mm-hmm.
warrant, you did not want to call the police because you was afraid of what they might do when they got there. And that's one of the also things that's happened with this domestic violence. When you're talking to somebody and when you're in contact with somebody, you never know what's going on behind that smile or whatever it is that you think
Mm-hmm.
they have a good life.
Right.
um Talk about the whole issue with you being in a domestic violent relationship and getting the police involved as a black woman. Like how did that feel every time you felt like you had to call the police?
You know what's crazy is, and shout out to my friends Vicky and I see my girl Ty. She's on here too, but shout out to both of them, but especially my girl Ty because she's been there since the beginning. Um, she met me way before the whole situation with Ken, so she's seen that whole wave of everything that I went through, like the emotional and mental somersaults I have done the last 6 years would make any person fold because in the middle of all that bullshit, I still was trying to make sure Levi saw his dad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
imagine having to balance all that shit. I have a restraining order on this motherfucker for 3 years. So we had to balance that. And so that, I just didn't want what was going on between me and him to trickle down to my son. Unfortunately, it did, but I thought at the time, like, I just don't want that to interfere with their relationship, because that was separate from what me and him was going through. But there was times I should have called the cops when he violated the restraining order. He was still showing up to my house with the restraining order. Matter of fact, I kid you not. This is like giving me really bad flashbacks. But as soon as we went to court, because you got to file the emergency restraining order, then they give you a court date to show up to get the official restraining order. And that in itself was stressful, because you got to sit in a separate room from the defendant. And then there was I'll never forget it. There was this woman sitting there like scared for her life. Like she was in like legit fear and like crying. They had to get like, I don't know what the right terminology, people that work in the court building, they had to come and just like sit with her, because the guy that she had the restraining order on, he was like super agitated. You could hear him screaming in the lobby area where he was supposed to be sitting at. The sheriffs had to come in and was like, listen, you got to chill out or we're going to restrain you until y'all got to go into the courtroom. I'm sitting there like, I really can't believe this is my life right now. Like, it went from somebody that, you genuinely have feelings for. We made this beautiful child together. And then it just went like complete 360. And he's sitting there purposely sitting in a chair, like cat a corner from where I'm sitting at, just like giving me like this nasty look. And I'm like, this motherfucker. So even after that, he was following me to the train station, because I don't even like parking downtown. I just like taking the train, whatever. I'm leaving the family court building, right? Walking to the train station to get on the train. This motherfucker's behind me. So I'm like, I don't even know what to do at this point, because there's a whole bunch of cops downtown anyway, especially around the courthouse or whatever. And I was like, I don't even know what to do, because he's like, I just want to talk to him. I'm like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, the ink hasn't even dried on the restraining order and you're still talking to me. You can't talk to me right now. Like, what are you doing? Then he had his friends calling me. This is why to this day, I don't pick up numbers that I don't recognize. If it's not saved in my phone, I don't answer it. He was showing up to my apartment. And at that time, they changed the locks on my apartment building, but at the time it was real easy to get into the building. So all of a sudden I hear like a knocking on my door, and I'm like, who is it? Because normally I'll just like open the door. So I looked in the peephole. He put his hand up on the peephole, so I couldn't see who was standing there. This is like some Hollywood movie shit. So this is why when I look at these movies, I'm like, it ain't too far-fetched, y'all. Like, I lived that life, like, for real. And he'd be like, I just want to see Levi. You can't see him until my mom and your mom meet up to get Levi and do an exchange. We can't even be like near each other, which led to an incident I told you about, that I ended up punching him in the face and bust his lip because he tried to pull my child out of my car. Like, it was just like an ongoing bullshit of like toxic psychological bullshit. Like, and yeah. So it was like, but then I was like, if I call the cops, that shit's gonna get escalated. It was just like a mind fuck. Like, when I look back at that person of me trying to navigate, like, how am I supposed to get through this? I really don't have a good support system. Of really, I should have just sat down and like went to a support group meeting of other women who went through any type of level of domestic violence. I was made to think like, oh, because he didn't punch you in the face and you weren't bleeding from everywhere, it was just a tussle. Regardless, he disrespected me. Listen, any man that puts their hands on a woman, especially somebody that you were in a relationship with, especially someone who gave you a child, and then call me all types of like thighs, hoes, bitches, whatever, Levi standing there, you ripping shit off the wall. Like, none of that was talked about in court. This is why women don't want to talk about shit, because then you don't have the judicial system backing you up. You don't have other men backing you up, but it's all like, Black Lives Matter. Okay, so what about our lives? Like, y'all don't fucking care? Like, this is this is where I'm at with it. This is why, like, it just triggers me. And I get there's other points of view, and I'm not negating how people feel about the whole Meg and Tory thing, but I lived that life. Like, I was in a toxic relationship where to this day he has not apologized. And if it was some sorry ass, like, almost like you shamed him into having an apology. Not like you're genuinely sorry, but it was just like, well, damn. I'm seeing, the mother of my child struggling for the last 5 fucking years raising my child. And I'm out here just sticking my dick in everything and not taking care of what I need to take care of. And then I'm going to still blame her as why I don't see my son as much. No, motherfucker, because you can't keep your hands to yourself. And just to validate what I went through, he got locked up again 2 years ago for assault on somebody else. So it's like, that pissed me off even more because back in 2015, I'm trying to tell y'all what happened. And everybody's like, yeah, whatever, it's part of it's really your fault because, it was, I don't even want to get into that. Like that shit right there just.
When you mention, like, you talk about like the whole shaming and things like that, it just brings to light that we're still not where we need to be when it comes to taking domestic violence seriously in the justice system and among each other. Like, I think that it's it's hard to explain the mindset of a man who puts his hands on a woman, and then I see men try to come up with all these weird scenarios. Well, what if she coming at me with a bulldozer? Am I supposed to just stand there? Spare me all these fucking super what if scenarios.
Right.
It should be no scenario where you want to put your hands on a woman. Like, what are we doing here? Like, when the whole Joe Mixon thing happened, any domestic violence, we get to this thing where, well, what if she coming at me with a knife? Or what if this? Or what if that? And I'm like, what if you just don't be with her? What if you just not in the house? What if you just stop sleeping with her, making her think something's different, and then you pissing her off again? What if you, as a woman, stop coming over there when you're not supposed to be over there? If he tell you he don't want to mess with you no more, you showing up. Like, men, stop opening the door. Like, you don't like all these excuses to why shit happens. It needs to stop, because unless it's a movie where it's like the Beyonce movie, I forgot the one where the chick was just batshit crazy.
Oh, Obsession? Was it Obsession?
Yeah. If it's like that, I got you. Boom, bam, okay. But most of it ain't like that. Most of it's two people who just can't get enough of each other and love the toxic. I can't say that word.
Yeah, there's
Love
people
the
out there
toxic
that just thrive off of that. Yeah.
They just thrive off of it. So I just want to say, to end it, if you know somebody that's going through that, talk to them, please. If you know somebody that's going through it and you don't know what to say, there's plenty of numbers or people that you could just send by to just talk to them, and it could be all anonymous if you scared to get in people's business. But I don't think I don't think you should spare anybody that you care about if you think that they're going through something like that. So they can get mad at you all they want, but you trying to keep them alive, because domestic violence only ends one way. I don't care what nobody says. I've done seen too much over the decade of being a police officer where domestic violence 20% ends up where everything is all good. The other 80%, it ends bad. So with that said, thank you for addressing that. And now we're going to get into the reason why I'm wearing this PlayStation hat. Because the PlayStation, video games in general, is very, very, very good to me. It's been very good to me. It's been a therapist. It's been a shoulder to cry on. It's been everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's black. It's a black PlayStation. And with that being said, listen, y'all know my wife can get anything in this world. She gets anything in this world. Like, let me give you an example. I woke up this morning, cleaned up the living room, made myself something to eat, did some homework. Everything was good. I turned on that PlayStation. The game ain't going nowhere. What is it with women in video games, yo? Like, what is the problem? I think It's because number one, the PlayStation is black, so it's like a woman, and you're like, you ain't gonna be spending no time with no other woman. Like, what the fuck? Why I got to hear that sound? Why you in there giggling in them headphones?
Oh my God.
What is it? What is it about the video game?
You know what? I'll say
Explain it.
this. I'll say this. And you know, I love my football, right? I love football.
Mm-hmm.
I love my sports. But I was dating this guy back, and I already should have known this was an issue. This was around the time that we were about to go into the playoffs and about to play in the NFC Championship against Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy I was dating at the time, I don't know why. You live in Philly. Why are you a Tampa Bay fan? I already knew something was up with this, right? Anyway, that relationship only lasted, if you really want to call it a relationship, that only lasted for 5 months.
It lasted too long.
Yeah,
It lasted
5 months.
months too long.
5 months too
Tampa
long.
Bay.
But all he wanted to do, this is what I like video games. I don't have a problem with video games. The problem I
Oh, here we
had
go.
was
Here we go.
shut up,
Go ahead.
shut
You
up,
one of
Prince.
them. Go ahead.
No, my thing was it was like, well, can we go out and do stuff? Like all he
No.
wanted to do is play Madden all day. And I'm like, well, at least teach me how to play. Like, you know, I like football. Let me figure it out. And he's just
No.
like, no, I just want to play with my brothers. And he got like 5 other brothers, right? Which I was cool with
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Like we was just like one family, whatever. And I'm just like, I
But
mean, you can't
why? What?
even.
But you gotta understand that's our time. Why can't it be? Why y'all got to be everywhere, man? It's
No,
our time.
no, I'm not saying like during that time, but I'm just like, well, damn, can you at least just teach me how to play Madden? Like, I'm good at Tekken and
No.
all the fight games, but I don't know how to play like them
No.
sports games. Like, I wanted to learn, and he was just like being an asshole. So
No.
I
No.
don't
He's being an
understand.
asshole because he want to play.
But if you're doing that all day, like, okay, a certain amount of time during the day, but like, come on, that's all I'm
Now let,
saying. But
let me give you this example. He
oh,
playing a
here we
video
go.
game all day, right? He playing a
Yeah.
video game all day. Okay, let's switch it. He's not his PlayStation has dust on it, but you calling him and you can't find him. It's just random chicks in his DMs. He lying about where he at. You want that? You want man B or you want man A that's in the house where you know where he's at?
Full disclosure, I've had both. So I mean, I've had both sides of the coin before.
Well, damn it, you need to figure it out then. Women, listen, we ain't gonna take this shit. Y'all back, listen,
Uh,
honey,
uh,
Taika, I love you. But in November, when that PlayStation 5 drop, matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in the calendar. I'm gonna block out a whole week. You better get all you need from me the week leading up. Anything you need, like I'm ready. Like anything you need, I'm gonna give it to you. But when that PlayStation drop, I don't want no hard feelings. And don't be like it's either me or the PlayStation.
See, I never
Listen,
did that. No, 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 no. And that's not why we broke up. I broke up because he was talking mad shit after we lost to the Bucks, and I was like, you know what? I don't even know why we even lasted through the football season. I'm like, and you talking shit after we lost to the Bucks, and wasn't that the last NFC Championship at the Vet too?
yep, yep,
I was like,
yep.
yeah,
That was the
bye,
last
yeah, that's
game in
it.
the
Nah,
vet.
bye,
Yeah,
bye, yeah, I'm
yeah.
done, bye, yeah.
Speaking of that, because like I said, video games is I want to talk about like I had a topic about pandemic, like finding love during the pandemic. Shit, it's hard finding love, period. But now add on top of that, you can't be with anybody, you can't meet up, you can't go out to eat, you got to practice social distancing. I've seen examples where people have fallen in love off of Zoom. Like it's this new thing where you just FaceTime people.
Oh,
It's
for real?
like speed dating for Twitter. Like you leave your number and you FaceTime. I'm like, people super bold. Cause what if you get a damn stalker? Like,
Exactly.
so during this pandemic, like what have you learned far as the pandemic when it comes to relationships? Have you been more patient, less patient, or like how does that go?
Honestly, I'm not thinking about any of that. I think my number one priority was just keeping my sanity because I
Mm-hmm.
lost my job like in the middle, like right in the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like making sure Levi was good. And then, trying to make sure Ken was doing what he was supposed to do as far as helping me with. Don't give me that look, yo. Do not give me that look because you giving me the
Because
side.
you lying. Because you full of shit. It's sweatpants. It's gray sweatpants season. And you up here lying. You up here lying. Lying, 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 lying. If I go to Twitter right
All
now
right, all right,
and
all
see
right.
hashtag gray sweat
Listen,
season, y'all be in y'all bag, but y'all want to complain when it's sundress season. When it's sundress season, y'all like, oh, that's all y'all think about. Blah, 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 blah. But the minute it
right.
get cold,
Oh, I'll be the first one. Yeah, I love sweatpants season. I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah. I mean, we're adults and adults are watching. I mean, people have their needs and needs need to be fulfilled. Boom, there you go. That's all I'm going to say.
bullshit. The bullshits.
What about how what?
Because listen, look, look, come on, man. What this the thing about women. And y'all know what? Y'all should be primed to do what y'all want. This is the woman empowerment era movement. You got WAP, you got what's the other song? You got Tease Me, you got all this stuff. You got how you say it, Saw Weedy, Sweetie, Swap, Sweetie, Swab Weedy,
Sweet.
whatever.
So
How the hell you say her name? You got light skin Keisha. You got the Avengers of WAP coming together and doing songs together, and
he
y'all
said
still
the
sit
WAP
here trying to
Avengers.
be timid. Yeah, the WAP Avengers, the Wingers, and y'all be up here be trying to be timid, talk so.
Yo.
Well, if it comes along, then but I'll be reading books and stuff, and I'll be trying to better my mental. So when I am in a relationship, bullshit, the bullshits.
Uh
So there you go. That's why I'm giving you that face, 'cause that's bullshit. Like, and y'all be quick to call us. I go to it all the time. The thirst traps, the
what
thirst
thirst
trap,
trap?
and the simps. No, I'm talking about in
Oh,
general.
oh.
Like the half naked chick stirring a pot with nothing in it, no water, no nothing.
Oh yeah.
Talking about what I'm cooking. I don't know, but it ain't no man there. So whatever you cooking, you eating it alone. Shit,
Right. Right.
out here setting thirst traps for these simps. Do y'all need a definition for simp again? Do Hey Trey, I told you I was gonna get the definition of simp in here. Where is definition of simp?
What's up, Trey?
It's an acronym. Simp is an acronym for. You know what simp is an acronym for?
I remember you posting it, and I forgot what it stands for.
Suckers idolizing mediocre pussy.
Yes. Oh, oh man.
oh, oh my god! But what I'm saying is, like, whether it's a pandemic or not, and it's time for a relationship, I just think it's too many games now when it comes to dating. What happened to remember in the shows where they would ask someone for a date and it was always I pick you up at 7? Now that's corny. Russell Wilson and Sierra is corny, but Cardi B and Offset was goals.
Right.
Dwayne Wade and his messy ass woman Gabrielle Union is goals. But here we got Russell Wilson who makes sure you know that he loves his woman. He's going to take care. He's going to stand by. Yeah, he a little corny, but he takes care of
Excuse
his
me.
business. Why can't that be goals versus the whole toxic of the playing of the games of the women
I got a
calling you
great
saying
answer
I
for that.
had your man? Like, why? Why is that goals and Russell Wilson is corny?
I
Help
don't
me
know why I keep it.
understand.
Okay. There's two things that need to be addressed from a woman's point of view and a man's point of view, both need to have accountability on both sides. Like, stop accepting mediocre bullshit from both sides of it. Like, I can hold myself accountable for having a lot of like what the fuck moments of people that I dealt with in the past that really did nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? They didn't motivate me. They didn't support me. They didn't, but it was just like, oh, but he just got this bad boy type of whatever. I don't even know what I was on some other shit in my 20s. Now it's like I just want somebody to be considerate, honest, and yeah, a lot of people look at that as being corny, which that's what Russell loves the hell out of Sierra, you know what I'm saying? But like, oh, he's whack, he's too soft, he's this and he's that. He loves his woman, and then those bitches be the same ones on social media talking about they baby dad ain't shit. You fucked him, sis. You fucked him. Let's be held accountable who we decide to lay down with and have kids with. That's why it's rare that you see me get on social media complaining about Ken, because at the end of the day, I had a baby with him. So it wasn't like someone held a gun to my head or his head and we engaged in something and a child came out of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like you gotta be held accountable for your own shit. Like, that's a whole other topic as far as like what I see on social media. Not saying that, you know, us as single moms don't have a right to complain and all that stuff, but we need to be held accountable for who we decided to have children with. That being said, because before anybody gets in my DMs and all that other bullshit, on the flip side, men need to be held accountable on just doing the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? And being
Well, hold on,
comfortable.
hold on, hold on. You talking to white men, right? Because black men don't cheat. Hashtag black men don't cheat. So you
I'm
talking
not.
about
Oh
Bob
God, here we go with that black men don't
and
cheat.
Jim.
Okay.
Listen, hashtag black men don't cheat. Go ahead.
Anyway, so my thing is not all men, because y'all be in your feelings when I be making blanket statements and shit, but a lot of men need to also Trey talking about black men don't cheat. Men in general need to also um understand what they need to do as far as being an adult, and when you're in a relationship, how you treat that relationship. And everybody wants to talk about like, oh, I'm a king and I'm all this and all this shit, but like you not doing like royalty fucking behavior. Like, you out here just smashing shit. Oh, you a king? Okay, all right, cool. Make it
Listen,
make sense, but
I
whatever.
get that because I've often told you on social media that people use king and queens too loosely, too loose. Um,
Absolutely.
Everybody ain't a king, everybody ain't a queen. First of all, it's subjective as hell. Like
Right.
like I said, some people think Offset is a king. Some people think Russell Wilson is corny. He ain't a
Right.
king. Like,
Right.
sometimes we as a culture we associate uh promiscuity and all that stuff with being being popular, being a man. No, that just means you just have a lot of sex. That don't make you a king. That means you just have a lot of sex. A
Right.
king takes care of his house. Like, you can't be a king and you with one woman and then your baby mama's banging on your door because you ain't taking care of your kid. That's not a king. A king ain't got no a king don't have late notices for child support. A king don't have to be tracked down to spend time with their kids. On the flip side,
Right.
um, I'm not gonna speak to what queens need to do. I'm gonna hold that to you because I feel like as a man, yeah, I can say it, but I'm not a woman. So what do you think queens in air quotes need to start doing?
um I just see a lot of accepting mediocrity. You know, stop accepting like the bare minimum. Know what your worth is. And if if a man really likes you and is really into you, actions are always going to speak louder than words. Don't let somebody just keep handing you just a load of bullshit and there's no change behavior behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know for me, it took a long time to understand like what my worth was. And that's the only reason why I'm saying this, because like I didn't know what my worth was. And you know, you go through your 20s trying to figure shit out. And then this whole toxic ass relationship where you have someone that you was in a relationship with for almost 3 years, and they're doing this emotional, psychological, and physical abuse. And you just don't know, you know, coming out of that and the healing process after that. I really didn't know like what my identity was. And then it was like, do I really want to start dating? And like, to what point do I, you know, how serious I want to get with someone again? Am I emotionally ready? I think like women, we really need to heal from our emotional baggage. Don't take that shit into the next relationship. Like, and that's why like I'm not ready at all to be committed to someone, because I know where I'm in the beginning phases of healing. Like I carried that shit for almost 6 years of baggage that no one deserves to unpack for me. I gotta unpack that shit myself and look in the mirror and be like, you know what, I've been through the worst in my life. Not you know, comparing traumas with everyone else's traumas, because your trauma is your trauma and someone else's trauma is theirs, and it could be more severe or less or whatever. It's just about focusing on you. And like Vicky was saying, queens are respectful of self and their kings, and it's I totally agree 100%. Like, you got to respect yourself. If you can't respect yourself and you can't love yourself, how you want to respect and love someone that you want to be in a relationship with? And respect has to be earned too. Like, just because you want some king shit, that don't mean I'm gonna automatically respect you. You got to earn that shit. Especially where I'm at mentally. Like, a lot of it, you got to earn my trust. You got to earn me allowing to be vulnerable again, because I haven't been vulnerable and I don't feel comfortable being vulnerable. Like, me telling my story, that's just me being transparent. But I'm talking about like, if I feel comfortable at the height of me being vulnerable, of crying and saying like, listen, there was some dark spots in my life that I still have not addressed, and I feel safe talking to you about that. But yeah, we just got to be more respectful and know what our worth is, because damn it, if more women was like, listen, I know the power that I have and I'm gonna stand firm in it, it would force men to not just hand out bullshit. Like, all y'all got a dick, whoop-de-doo, congratulations, there's a golden star. But don't give me that look.
Don't be dismissing it. Listen. Don't be dismissing it
I'm
like,
not
oh, y'all got
dismissing.
a dick.
No,
Whoop-de-doo. Guess what y'all got? Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-damn-do.
I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying, like, y'all think that's what runs the world. Like, you know, I mean, Trey, don't start that. I'm not, you know, I'm not a man basher. I'm just saying, like, how some of y'all be walking around here acting like y'all rule the world because what's between y'all legs is more to it than that. Like, are you going to be?
It's not just that. You know what? You know where men get their confidence from?
Where?
And you're gonna love this. You know where men get their confidence from? Knowing that they could can get away and have got away with bullshit, and it empowers them, it emboldens them.
That's where it's like that's
Like,
that
a
double
man
side of
is
the coin.
only
Yeah.
gonna a man is only gonna get away with what a woman allows him to get away with. Like, if your man keep having break babies on you, why shouldn't he walk around like he got a third leg? Like, listen, like, I done had babies on this girl, I done slapped this girl, I done cheated on this girl, got her to buy me a PS5, and she's still with me, and I treat her like shit, yo. Damn, I am a king. And that's stupid ass thinking on a man's part, but that's also coming from women, you know, allowing that shit. If you don't allow it, then a man know, like, damn, I gotta be on my grind. Like my
And that's
woman
where I
ain't
was.
gonna let
Yeah.
my wife ain't gonna let me be me. Like, if I'm doing something stupid, she like, yeah, no, that's not the Princey Pooh I married, or that's not the prince I married. Like, what are you doing? Like, get off
Right.
your ass. Like, do this, do that. You can't do this. Like, uplift it. Like, when I be wanting to not do something because I be thinking it's too hard, she be like, no, that's bullshit. You can do it. Now that's positive reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, positive reinforcing me having break babies or being an asshole, that's not uplifting. That's just being dumb. And it goes both
Right.
ways. Like if your
It
woman is
does.
acting up and you let her do whatever, women listen, women gonna play you. They gonna play you regardless. But if you let them play you, ooh,
And can I
ooh.
say something? This is the other thing that be pissing me off is like I'll run into into someone that I went to high school with, or I'm on one of these stupid dating apps that I have
Don't be
completely.
saying this. Which one? Which one?
I'm not disclosing that information,
No,
but
no, no.
I'm not disclosing it. Um,
It was black people
the
meeting.
thing that'll piss me off is like, well, why are you single? It's almost like and then like the follow-up statement would be like, oh, something got to be wrong, you crazy. No, how about it's just that I just don't want to fuck with just anybody. Like
I
what's
don't.
the problem? Like I'm not allowed to be single. Like I
I,
don't understand that shit.
I'm gonna
Like
have to take up for my men because we're very visual creatures. So when we see a young woman that's attractive and she seemed to have her shit together, which we just appeared to believe it's just because she looked good, she has her shit together. Our automatic process is why she's single. Versus we see somebody that's ugly as shit, we like, I know why she ain't got nobody. She ugly as fuck. But because we're such visual creatures, when we see a woman that's attractive and by herself, we do wonder what's going on. Because if you're attractive, then men, damn it, naturally we're gonna want to be with you. Versus women, when they see a man that's attractive and sort of by himself, y'all do it too. Y'all be like, oh, he must be a hoe. He must sleep around. Oh, he cocky. Oh, he light skinned. Like all that
say
shit
that
that
all the
come with
time.
being a man. Like, so that's why I didn't, but I will say, you can't say it must be something wrong with her. Cause like you said, maybe you just in a career path or you going through something and you don't want to be with somebody. That's okay.
But
You don't
I'm
have to
also
be with people.
but like I'm also brutally honest. Like I've been through a lot. I talk to my therapist all the time about it, and it's just a matter of she says the trust issues that I think I have is not what it really is. She explained it to me that it's not so much you don't trust the other person, you don't trust your own instincts when it comes to anyone that you deal with. And she said the bottom line is you got to trust yourself. If you feel like you see a red flag, walk away. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to justify
Mhm.
it. If it don't feel right, just walk away from it. And
That-
I mean, I
That's
get
great
that
advice.
point. I get that aspect of it, but then it's like the other part of it is like I don't know. It's just a lot that I gotta work on myself. I'm just being as
Oh.
honest as possible. What you thought I was going to say?
No, I thought you was gonna say give a guy a chance. I hate that. I thought
Oh
that's what
no,
you was
no,
gonna say. Cause
no.
women always think y'all can save a guy. Y'all see this
I ain't trying
potential.
to save
Sometimes a
nobody but
man
my
just
damn
ain't
self.
shit. Sometimes a man just ain't shit. Like it, no clothes, no nothing can change it. Like you be
Yeah.
like, he just need a clean pair of shoes and he'll be all right. Like no, like sometimes you can't do it. You can't bleach shit and think it's gonna come clean. It is what it is. That's what I
Right.
thought you was gonna say, but you didn't, and that's a great thing. Like follow your instincts. Like sometimes they'll be wrong, but hey, listen, at least follow them, especially when it's a red flag. I don't know how many times, like I'll be looking at I just saw Evil Within. Like my cousin Javari said, shout out to him. He said potential ain't in everybody, and that's for damn sure.
Yep.
Like it's not in everybody. Like, and you got to know when to cut that cut them ties. Like
Right.
my, I think it was my mom. No, it was my dad that told me. He said, whenever somebody show you who they are, believe them.
Right.
My aunts told me that too. She's in here. Hi, auntie. My aunt Princess in here. She always used to tell me that. when I used to be like, Auntie, I think I like blank. I think
Yeah.
she good. And I would say something like, she get on my nerves, and my aunt would be like, well, if she showed you who she is the first time,
My
believe her.
mom always says that when someone shows you who
Mm-hmm.
they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm. And I can say my aunt's been right because she's told me a lot. But you do, especially when it comes to relationships, man, it's nothing worse than wasting your time with
Thank
somebody
you.
because time
Yes.
is precious.
Time is
And
very
if you
valuable. Right.
calling a guy and he's saying he gonna come pick you up and then he don't, or he late, or he just uh even women, like if a woman be like, yeah, I'm gonna call you, or you call me and you call her, you can't get her, like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, you can't be wasting time. Time is so precious, and it's too damn valuable to waste it on somebody that ain't worth it.
Absolutely.
So, um, in relationships, I think we need to really pay attention, and it's okay. It is every. Let me say. No, I think personally we're not meant to be alone. Like you just can't. That's why people, lose their mind when they're like in solitary confinement or they're in prison or they can't interact with people.
Right.
But that don't mean you just gotta settle. I mean,
Right.
I mean, you ain't got to settle for just anybody because you don't want to be alone. So,
Right.
um, I just want people to be more respectful of each other's time and each other's situations because, like,
Absolutely.
you're busy, you do a lot for autism, and you got Levi who's autistic, and you got to do so much for him. So imagine you got all that worked out, right? Then you got a dude that keep lying, be say he gonna pick you up, don't got excuses, just doing the most or the
Hmm.
less. And now think about it, you done wasted even a day, like trying to get that together and see why he ain't called you back, stuff like that. That's time with just you could have been doing something else. And I think that's really what bothers me is when people waste their time in bad situations and you're like, why are you still in it?
Right.
I
And this
I
is
don't know.
where I run into this problem every single time. It's like, um, I've even had guys in the past that will pretend that, they want to learn all this stuff about autism. And, and I don't bring no random nothing around my son. Full disclosure, I don't do that shit. I'm not one of them types. I'm extremely protective of my son. But the number one way to piss me off is to be fake about caring about something that's dear to my heart. So don't come with that, like, oh, you're doing such a great job with your son, and well, what other support systems is he, and don't ask me about none of that shit unless you really care about it, because if I even get the slightest, if I sniff the bullshit, I'm gonna call you on it. Like, I don't got time for that. Or you're blowing up my phone and I already told you, you know I'm fully dedicated to my son. I'm a single parent, I work full time, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. I'm a children's book author. I try to do events on the weekends, to try to build the brand because it's brand new. So you got to spend money to get exposure. And it's my money. I don't ask nobody for shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like um God, like, I'm not making a blanket statement, but it just seemed like some of these dudes just want to know enough and show that they care enough to get what they want, and then
Of
it's
course.
like they give you the okey doke, and then it's just like, then like the representative disappears, and then it's like, oh, this is the motherfucker that's been hiding behind the fake ass
Yeah.
motherfucker for,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
That's why I
saying?
got
It's
my
just like,
wife.
and that's
The
hurtful.
okey doke.
But that's hurtful, because it's like, I'd rather you just be like, listen, I just want to fuck you and just keep it moving. Just say that. Just be, not saying I'm gonna say I'm agree to that, but I'd rather people just be honest than give me the whole, I'm this gentleman and I'm here to, well, number one, I don't need nobody to save me, but I want to do this, that, and the other. And eventually I want to meet you. Like, I'm going to give you one. I was on a dating app like a year ago, And this guy, I'm not disclosing it. So
you never disclosed the app. Come on,
I'm not disclosing that because I don't know if that profile is still out there or not.
It's Black People Meet, wasn't it? It was Black People Meet.
Not. It was not. No. Anyway, so me and the guy was chit chatting, whatever, right? So then he was like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go to this Eagles, event or whatever. And he was like, oh, can I come along? I was like, no, you can't. That's number one, I don't know you. Two, I take my son with me and I don't bring no random ass guys around my child. Like, what type of time are you on? And he was like, oh, all right. So that right there let me know that these stupid ass women out here do the most stupid random shit. Like, you bringing random motherfuckers around your kids. I can't wrap my head around that shit. But anyway, that just let me know like how nonchalant he was about having that conversation. And I snapped on him, and then he was like, well, damn, sis is like that. Yeah, it is a fuck like that. Like, no.
Why is he calling you sis and he trying to get with you?
Thank you. That was
what? Damn, sis. Like what? Oh, brother, like you from Alabama or something? Like, don't be calling me sis. Like, come on, man.
I can't. So yeah, that's kind of deterred me. Like, I feel like, and one of my friends gave me like the greatest advice ever last night, because sometimes I just need like that go-to person to just like talk to and kind of just level myself. Like, I'm an emotionally strong person. A lot of people can attest to that. Like, I'm always the person everyone calls when they got some shit going on and they just need someone to vent to. Like, I'm that type of friend. Like, I got you. But sometimes I need someone to listen to me because I'm emotionally exhausted 24/7. I got to be strong for my son. I'm trying to keep myself together, trying to keep our life together, keep it moving. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic doing virtual. It's just a whole bunch of shit that I really feel like people just don't take in an account because everything moves so smoothly with what I do at home and with my little small family unit that it just irritates the shit. People don't care. They just don't. They don't understand why, like,
Third Prizzy said that's the way to do it. My wife was a single mom, took a while before I was around her. Now my daughter. Okay.
And that's how it should be. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that's exactly how it should be. Because you know what really bothers me? When women, it's mainly with women, like they just meet a man and their kid is calling that person daddy. Like, like what? Like, what do we do now? Guess what? Now you broke up with him. Daddy gone. Okay, here go daddy number 2. Is this one want to stick around? Just random ass men around, and then men too, bringing all these women around your kids, and they like, damn, another one. Like, then they gonna start thinking, well, it's all about being a notch on the bedpost versus finding somebody that's equally yoked. And you know what? Speaking of equally yoked, that's what I wanted to get into about not necessarily the Meg and Tory thing, but around that premise. The reason why I had jokes, because when I found out Meg and Tory was dating, I was like, what? Like, huh?
Yeah, I didn't see that at all.
He's like 2 inches from being a midget. Like, how? Megan's a good 6 feet. Like,
yeah, she's a stallion for a reason. That's a tall girl.
They call her stallion because she's built like Tory Lanez. His hairline. Shout out to his barber, because that motherfucker's a magician. Stephen A. Smith and Tory Lanez barber are magicians. They deserve everything they get. Like I said last week, it's God. Like the emperor with new clothes. Like, they be lying to Tory Lanez and Stephen A. Smith. They be like, you done.
No, she's taller than 5'9". She's a good without heels on. She's 5'11".
Yeah. She no.
With heels on, she's over 6 foot. Yeah,
But when I found out she was messing with Tory Lanez, I was like, the rapper, the show me rapper, the guy that I don't know where he's from. Is he from Toronto?
Yeah, he's from Canada. Yeah. Yep.
What's with the accent? Shall they want to ride? Like, what is that? Like, what is when that song came out? And like, what is that? Is he Jamaican? Why do people in Toronto? I'm going on a tangent. What Drake do the same thing? Worldwide team, worldwide team. Drake, you are from Toronto. You are rolling in the six with your whoa. Why are you talking like Bob Marley? I don't. You know what? I'm gonna get off of that. Like my cousin Gerard says, "Well, yeah, Shawty wanna ride, Shawty." Like, what are you doing? You destroying a classic. No hairline bastard. Shooting people in the foot. And the reason why I had a joke, because it's on par for him shooting Meg in the foot. He's short. So he probably was like, oh man, they go a foot. I can get a foot. Like, what are you, Eddie Murphy and Harlem Nights? Why are you shooting people in the feet?
Oh my God.
But getting back to it, like women and men, you have to go with people that is on your level. I get it. No and no. It's not being cocky. It's not being stuck up. It's knowing your worth. Know your worth. Like,
Tracy,
I'm
keep
not
that
saying,
hat on.
keep that hat on.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
y'all already know I'm bald. My wife, listen, I was one of them. I was like Doc Rivers, still getting the line up, knowing like what are they shaping up? Your scalp, your brain? Like and then one day my wife was like, honey, I love you, but you just got an LIG. You got an LIG, because it would be hair in the front, then a crater in the middle. It was like a real George Jefferson. And I was like, man, I was straight getting my barber, and he's no longer my barber. My barber cut my hair for 2 years, knowing damn well I shouldn't be getting fades. And then I knew it was time. I knew it was time to let it go when he was like, yo, you know it's time when they pull out the Beijing. And he's like, yo, I'm gonna tighten you up. You ain't gonna tighten up shit. You ain't putting that black lacquer on my head. You know what? Just shave it. Just shave it.
Yo, I'm done.
Fake ass head. When you see them, they be looking like somebody spilled like black fudge. You can't sweat. You can't do none of that shit.
They got like
done.
the filling beard.
Yeah, like listen, if your beard can't connect, that's an issue between you and the women you with. Call it what you want to call it, but if your beard don't connect, that's you need to look in the mirror. It's your fault. Getting Beijing, bruh, like come on, man. It's like come on, man. But anyway, like I was saying, Meg. When I found out Meg was with Tori, I was like, why? But I see why, and I gotta come at my men again. Serena Williams, Meg Thee Stallion. What did all you see? Man, she's a man. She looks like a man. She's built like a man. She's this, she's that, she's that, she's that. Why? Because she ain't no waifish ass European, no eating, lettuce eating person that's like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
No, that's what you call a woman, a real woman. Y'all already know I'm an advocate for the BBW community. Shit, my wife was working out today. I'm already thinking about the future. I'm like, man, I can't. If she lose weight, I don't know what to do, man. Like, I'm gonna start spiking her drinks, like putting protein in it or something. Like, but you can't call it black women men, but you'll call Mega Man, right?
Right.
But if I go on your IG, you got all these builder thoughts liking their statuses. Like they don't went to somebody's basement and got a whole ass.
Right.
But that look good.
The hip thigh ratio don't match.
Yeah. They bought the ass, but put the legs on layaway. It looked like a damn pumpkin on a chopstick. That's what some of them asses be looking.
Yes, it does.
And the men be
Kardashians, like, their thigh like this and the ass like that.
Girl, they be like, I'm gonna fly you out. But Meg Thee Stallion and Serena are men. And then as soon as they show up, remember when Meg had the picture, the snapshot photo with the white boy,
Oh,
G.
G
Black
Easy.
men was
Yeah.
in their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
When Serena
I'm
was
like,
like,
y'all was tearing her down on social media.
yeah,
So it's like, don't
yeah,
shut the fuck up.
she a
Like,
man. Remember, you want
right.
a man? You want a man now? Like, look, you can't call her a man, and then she like, all right, I'm
They
done with
crazy.
you.
Meg, if I had her body, yo, I swear. Meg is
First of all,
beautiful to me.
if I had Meg Thee Stallion body, I'll be playing in the WNBA, and
Right.
then I will
I be
free,
running
I will
track. I
free
be
a black
playing
man
ball.
and get married.
I be
Shout
a
out to
linebacker for the
Jonathan
Eagles.
Irons. Shout out to Jonathan Irons. My man was locked up for 20 years. Came out and got Maya Moore. Man, that's king shit. Now that's king shit. But word up, that's king shit. But um, shout out to Karate Mark. He just told me he hanging out, so he ain't gonna come on today. Um, but yeah, like you can't have it both ways. I get it if you see somebody and you think they have potential and you like, yeah, I want to see what that's about. That's different than you having a job and doing your thing, and then you get with a dude with like 5 kids and he ain't take care of none of them. And
Right.
every time you come home and be like, have you been looking for a job today? He like, nah, but after I put down the PlayStation, I'm gonna fill out a couple applications. That's not equally yoked. I don't know what the hell that is.
Right.
Or you a man and you got your stuff, you got your shit together, and you get with a woman who don't want to work, always got her hand out, always in between jobs.
Right.
Uh, you Google her name and you see only. You can't listen. I'm
Right.
telling you, this pandemic got everybody thinking they are OnlyFans model or Instagram model
People really
or
been on some BS during this pandemic. Like for
a
real.
bum. Like my aunt said, a bum. Like
And
you
there's bums
dating
on
a
both
legit.
sides. Like it's not
It's
just the
bums
men. There's
there.
women doing mediocre shit, making the rest of us look bad. They making it hard for women like me to go out there and have like a normal date without like some dude like, yo, so can we carry on a conversation, please? Like that's a whole nother rant. I don't even want to get
You
into that.
know
But
what? No. That's not a rant. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. You know why men can't have conversations anymore? And I'm gonna be real with you. You know why?
why?
You know why? Because they see every fucking thing before they even have to have a conversation.
That's true.
Women are half damn near naked. Like, what are we talking about? Like before, you used to be like, "Yo, can I see this? Can I see that? Like, man, I wonder what she looked like under that." Not
You
no
got too
more.
much
So what are we
right. You
talking
got too much
about? What
accessibility on social media. So it's like, why do
right?
I even need to engage in a conversation with you?
And men don't have to talk anymore because the bare minimum is being accepted. It's like, why should I have to talk to you about anything? Why should I care about what you're going through? Like you said, fake caring just enough to be like, all right, once I get back to the crib, then we good. So I'm gonna talk to you about your son or whatever. I think, and you can, come on, man. It's just we gotta up our standards of how we wanna come across because guess what? Newsflash, men and women, if you ain't shit, they gonna tell others about it. That's why I said we need a Yelp for relationships.
Yeah.
Like
Like, do
like
not
they
date
look
this
up,
person.
yeah, like
You
they look up
smashing
goddamn,
everybody on Facebook.
like
Yo,
they look up I'm just gonna say Tyrone. They look up Tyrone and it's like,
Tyrone.
okay, income 3 stars, okay, cooking 1 star, okay, sex game 5 stars, okay, um, okay, then they do
And
the
that's
paragraph. They be like, this lazy motherfucker, he did this, he did that. Girl, he's sorry, he stole my wallet. Like all this, but you know what women gonna see? The 5 star. The
can I
five
give a
stars
prime?
near the sex.
I'm gonna just
Go
keep it
ahead.
like I'm gonna keep it 1,000. There was a guy that I dealt with. This was like 2 years ago. Yeah, the intimacy part of it was great. What made me like cut him off and ghost him, and I'm talking about like I just abruptly blocked him on my phone and just was done with it. It was because like sometimes I just didn't want it to always be about just sex. I mean, yeah, we can have like this intimate thing, but can I just have a conversation? Can you just talk about what's going on in the world? Can we just do that. And it was just like, and then it just gave me flashbacks of like, he's probably never had to do that because women just give up the vagina. And it's like, well, I don't need to have a conversation. I'm not wired like that. Like, if you don't have any type of like conversation skills, or I feel like you talking at me, or you get annoyed of like having a conversation, then I'm just like, yeah, I'm just over it. So I ended up ghosting him.
I didn't mean the Tyrone we know. Tyrone's just a random name. Erica Badu used it. It's just Tyrone. It just represents.
She said, no, the father-in-law.
Scratch Tyrone. I didn't mean Tyrone. Scratch Tyrone. I didn't mean Tyrone. Let's call him Hassan. Let's do Hassan. What's another name? Like me and my wife, we be watching Fatal Attraction. Whenever they say a name, that's another name we need to add. You never trust that name. We got Tyrone. What's another name?
That's a stalker name. Right.
Rashid. What's another name that you don't trust when you hear it? What's another? Give me a name. I can't even think of one.
I was gonna say Kyle. Kyle sounds like a stalker name.
Kyle's are worse. Kyle's are bad. What's some more? Any Reese, Sharif, Tyreek, anybody like that, you leave them alone. You go running. Jay.
Yes, Marcus. Marcus is a good one. Marcus always, there's always a Marcus. Brandon, yep.
Don't say Brandon. Don't say Brandon. Anybody like that?
He said don't say Brandon.
Don't say Brandon. Don't say Brandon. Listen. He already know that's my cousin. He know I hate that name. Let me see what my cousin said. He said we can't fault people for that. They only go off the information they have at the time. We can't expect men and women of today to be of standard when the standard isn't being set at home. That is a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point, because if you grew up in a broken home, then shit, you ain't gonna know a good thing when it looks you in the face. You're gonna be like, man, he work, he do this, he do that, he corny, he don't cheat on me, he don't lie. What for the longest, what would women say? They would say, he's boring, or I need some variety. Like, what variety do you want? It ain't a goddamn box of granola bars. What variety do you want?
Here's another side of the coin that people don't talk about. Like, I grew up with both of my parents who will be celebrating their 35th wedding anniversary the end of this month.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. The Jet Magazine couple.
But the thing is, like, with my, not full disclosure, I love my parents dearly, but every family has their drama, whatever. But I feel like with my parents, like growing up, the way they grew up in a lot of like, my dad grew up in West Philly. My mom moved around a lot. So they didn't have what they have now. Like, they worked their asses off to provide what they could provide for me and my brother. And I always be grateful to them. And they set the standard on how to be responsible, caring adults. And I get that from them. But on the flip side of it, like, my dad was so strict with me to the point where I couldn't go to prom. I couldn't date. I couldn't have guys call the house. I couldn't do anything. And like, when I was talking to my therapist about it, I was like, you know what I really wish would have happened was, like, my dad would have took me out on a date to show me, all right, this is what was supposed to happen when you go on a date. This is what a guy is supposed to do. He didn't do any of that. And I'm not faulting him. I'm just stating the obvious of, you do the best you can as a parent, and no parent is perfect. But it didn't prepare me for when I got into my 20s and I moved out and went into the Air Force, and trying to navigate how to go out on a date with a guy, and what should happen on a date. What is a guy supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of like, you can't go, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go nowhere. It's just like, it's got to be like happy medium.
Can I ask you something? Why do all light-skinned people go to the Air Force? Like, what is it about the Air Force and light-skinned people?
Okay, like, full disclosure before you get into the whole light-skinned thing. So initially, I signed up with the Army, right? Went to Mets, did the entry test, and I scored a 70 on the entrance exam, right? So they were all like, oh, you can pretty much have any job you want in the Army, right? Then, excuse me, my mom was talking to someone at her job that was in the Army, and they were like, oh, well, if I could do it all over again, I would have went into the Air Force. So my mom was in my ear about the Air Force. So then I started talking to an Air Force recruiter. So the Army and the Air Force, you know, they don't get along. So the Army recruiter refused to give me my records to give to the Air Force recruiter. So I had to call my Air Force recruiter and tell them, like, listen, you got to call them and get the everything that I already did to get into the military. They won't give it to me. I guess because they were like, she was like this close to being sworn in into the Army, and I backed out, and I was like, no, I think I want to go into the Air Force, and they was pissed. And it took a while, but they ended up like transferring all that stuff to the Air Force. But I was like, is it that serious though? Like, we're all serving our country. Oh, come on. No.
Bullshit. You light-skinned people, you go to the Air Force, you grill in the mornings when the Army's doing PT, you call your commanders by their first name. Bullshit.
No.
I just noticed that. All the light-skinned people's at the Air Force. And we get the crispy motherfuckers in the Army. Crispy.
No, this is what used to have. No, this is what used to have when I was in tech school in Texas, right? So I'd be, because like the medical dorm, like for all the medical jobs, everyone was in the same dorm, and I was on the third floor, and the window was always open because it's Texas. It would be like 80 degrees, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I always had the window open, and I hear the Army marching down the street talking about all the hoses in the Air Force, and I'm like, so we would be out the window like, shut up, we still asleep, and we're like, no, man. I'm like,
listen,
all the hoses in the Air Force. I'm like, yo, for real though.
For the record, Prince Blue don't condone calling women hoes, especially women that serve in our military. But listen, this is real time, okay? I done heard about the Air Force now. Listen, I'm gonna leave it at that. Listen, own it. Own it.
I behaved myself in the Air Force. Thank you very much, sir.
I bet you did. Now, let's talk about something that yes, Javaria, crispy. People in the Army are crispy. Like so crispy, they don't have to use camouflage. They just stand by shit. Like it's nighttime. They like that's why black people would make the best ninjas, just crispy. But
oh man.
Let's talk about something that is near and dear to you, because I want to give you enough time. Let's talk about autism.
Yes.
And you being an advocate for it, and you doing a lot of big things in that community. And we talk all the time how in the Black community, we don't talk about it enough. We try to hide it. We try to say, oh, it's nothing wrong. We don't use the services. We use the services for other things, but we don't use the services that are available to us. Talk about your advocacy for that, and talk about that special guy with powers that you call Levi, aka Baby Tobias. If y'all don't know why I call him Baby Tobias,
Baby Tobias,
he looks just like Tobias Harris. If you don't know what Tobias Harris is, he's a power forward for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he looks just like him so much that I'm gonna order a DNA test, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, Levi," and I'm scrape his cheek, and I'm gonna send it off. That's how much he looked like Tobias. But talk about your baby and what you're doing in the autism community.
Yeah, so a lot of you that don't know me, he's the love of my life. I love that kid to death. I will burn the whole world down for that kid. Like, I can't even express how much in my heart, how much love I have for him. In the beginning, when we found out he had a developmental delay, it was hard. Like, because I didn't even understand what a developmental delay was. I just knew, like, okay, this is this is something that we're going to have to navigate differently than everybody else. Once we got the official diagnosis, I'm not going to say upset, because by then I kind of accepted the fact that Levi was unique. There's nothing wrong with my child. Of course I cried. I was getting emotional, and still felt like it was a mixture of feeling like you're drowning and you're suffocating, because you just don't know how to navigate. And anybody that lives in the Philly area, wherever you live at, access to resources just don't fall in your lap. Like, there is no manual that tells you, okay, you go to the pediatrician to get what you think the doctor feels where your child is at developmentally. They think there's a delay, then they're supposed to give you resources for early intervention. Sometimes, and especially in the Black community, we don't have access to those resources. So your kid is like 7, 8, 9, 10, a teenager, and they're not getting any services. And by then, it's a lot harder to get those intervention services because their brains have already pretty much developed, and it's a lot harder to do those assisting programs for them. But I was just fortunate and blessed that his pediatrician was like, okay, he has a developmental delay. Let me refer you to ChildLink. ChildLink, we stayed with them until he was about 3. Once he turned 3, then we went to Elwyn, because they break up the age groups for early intervention. So we went to Elwyn. Yeah. And I'll talk about why I'm so passionate about the Eagles Autism Challenge, because one of their recipients of the fundraising money that they've raised is one of the places we use to get an educational diagnosis for Levi. So we went to Drexel University's Autism Institute, and they don't provide a medical diagnosis. They help with placement for kids and early intervention programs, so they know like what's the right fit for him. So that's how we even got into spin, and that's how me, Levi, and spin developed like a family relationship for the last 4 years. But it's not easy. And someone said, where can one go to get resources about autism? It's different depending on what state you live in. Unfortunately, it's not a blanket thing to kind of like get, like what's in Philly may not be in North Carolina. Even in Jersey, it's totally different from Philly. You go out of Philly and go into Montgomery County and Bucks and Delaware County, it's a whole different agency that handles services for autism. But if you just want general information, there's a lot of great websites. Stay away from Autism Speaks, for the love of God. I don't know why people keep promoting that shit, because I cursed them out a couple of times on Twitter. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and all those millions, you haven't helped nobody with, there's a lot of families that need help, and I didn't see y'all do. That's another rant. But anyway, stay away from Autism Speaks. Autism Society is a great one. If you want to message me, I'm really good at networking with other families.
Give out the information.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, Echo Boy's Mom 82, Twitter, Levi's Mom 30. Let me see. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yeah, I have a couple who are scared to go to the doctor about it. They don't want to use medicine. Okay, here's the other thing. There is no cure for autism. So just because you go to the doctors to get a diagnosis, that does not correlate with medicine. That's just to get a psychological, behavioral evaluation for your child, so that your child can qualify for Medicaid, other resources locally in your city.
That's very important. You got to be in the system to get help.
Right.
You have to be in the system.
Right. You just can't say like, okay, well, my kid needs help. Like, there needs to be documentation and a paper trail that, okay, he's getting early intervention services like that. And I get it, because from the Black community, we don't trust going to the doctors, because it always correlates with, we got to take something that don't even help the problem. And I totally get that. That's totally understandable. But you got to find reputable people to go see to get your child evaluated. And the evaluation takes about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And it's really just like, they get the kids to play and engage and ask questions. And from that, that's how they evaluate the kids. So there's no needles, there's no injections of anything. You're in the room with your child. They'll ask you questions about what you observe, what your kid is doing, what your kid's not doing. And it's a difficult process because you got to admit to stuff that your child isn't doing at the appropriate age that they're supposed to be doing. That's a rough thing to go through. But and listen, I was scared too. Like, we just gonna keep it 1,000. Like, I was scared. And the coming out on the other side is, look where my son's at now. Like, he was totally nonverbal when he was 2. Now this kid can read, and I'm not going to cry or get emotional. But where we're at now is he can say hexagon. He can recognize all his shapes, all his colors. He can count to 100. He can read on his level. But it takes a lot of work. Like, people just, they'll message me and be like, wow, like, it's amazing what your son is doing. But it was a lot of sacrifice. I would do it all over again because that's how much I love my son. But it takes a lot of dedication and never giving up on your child. And there's a point where you feel like a disconnect with your kid. And that's where I was at when he was about 3. Like, I felt like I was having that. It was a mixture of like postpartum depression and like not feeling connected to him because he was nonverbal. I didn't know what he was into. I didn't know what was setting him off. Like, imagine going through the toddler phase and your child's not verbal. Like, that was really just some, those were some crazy years. But like, the breakthrough was he started liking Sesame Street. And then once I kind of figured out what he was into, it was all about Elmo. And then we started going to Sesame Place. That took about 4 times for him to tolerate being in that environment. Now this kid will drag me on a roller coaster. Mom, I want to get on that. All right, let's get on the roller coaster. But Vicky said no thanks to Carol. Listen, that teacher from last year, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. But you gotta, and the other thing too is once your kid gets the services, you gotta stay on top of it. Do not rely on these people with so-called degrees and they got all this experience. Number one, they're not Black, they're not raising your child, and they're not raising a Black child with autism. So you got to come in there and be present and knowing you got a PhD in this motherfucker because you know more than everybody else sitting at that table when it comes to your child. So don't ever let them like use all this jargon because I'll tell them like, I don't understand what you just said. Can you re-explain that to me? Because then that leads into you got to sign off on paperwork. You need to read that to me because I'm not signing my life away on some shit I didn't agree to. And then 6 months later, you're like, well, we can't reevaluate or we can't do this because you signed this 6 months ago. Because they tried to catch me a couple times doing that shit with Levi. And I was like, you can't send home paperwork and don't explain that to me because I'm not signing it. So then they tried to say I was being non-compliant. Nah.
Before, because we're coming up on an hour and 30-minute mark. So I want you to get everything out that you need to get, like what you're doing, your brand and stuff like that. And then after a minute 30, like we'll keep talking after that. But the people that's listening at home is going to listen again. They'll get to hear where they can get you and what you've been working on. So the floor is yours, ma'am. Go ahead.
All right. So October 18th, I am one of the proud supporters and sponsors of Autism Resource Fair that's going to be out in Lansdowne. If you're in the area, if you live in the Philly area, if you're out near West Philly, which is even more convenient if you're out that way, it's free. It's going to be activities for the kids. I'll be selling books. I have a coloring book that's almost finished. I've been showing Prince some previews of it. It's almost finished. I'm waiting for the cover to be finished. So I'll be having t-shirts, stickers, posters. I'm trying to do like a whole promotion thing for this because it's just for ABC Girl. I love her to death. She's basically my daughter. I mean, that's just, I got them tattooed on me. So, those are my kids. So I'm super proud of that. What else am I doing? I did a lot of networking today, so expect some read-alongs on lives. I just talked to someone who has a nonprofit organization just for anti-bullying, and my book is about anti-bullying. So I donated a book to their organization and donated, a small fee to their to their organization because they just recently started. So I'm just trying to build connections in the community to broaden the support for the book and just bring more awareness to autism, anti-bullying. Also October is anti-bullying month. So if anyone knows anyone that needs like an author to read online, if it's Zoom or Facebook or IG, let me know. I am more than willing to do live readings, which I am trying to do one sometime in October. So yeah, I'm just trying to put more positive energy out there, spread love, show how much I'm proud of my son. I'm trying to instill as much as I can into him that it's not a deficit. He is truly blessed. He's my blessing. That's my baby. I just want to give him the world, and I want to work. I want the world to be a better place for him, and I mean that. Like, and if anyone has any questions, they want to reach out to me, please feel free to. I'm very social on social media, so hit me up. Yeah. Oh, this is one of the shirts too.
That's one. My daughter Princess has one.
Yes.
So Chante, thank you for coming on. You're doing wonderful things for the community, and please, y'all, if y'all have any questions, please reach out to her. She's very knowledgeable. If she doesn't have the answer, she will find out for you. Um, please, 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 if you have any issues or anything like that, make sure you go see somebody, check it out, because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about your child and whoever you're getting help for. Um, this is me. Okay, I'm signing off. I don't have no music. I went over an hour and 30. So what? Who cares? Um, this has been Real Time with Prince Blue. I've enjoyed everybody. Thank you for coming on. Thank everybody for listening. Please remember, you can see, I mean, you can't see, you can hear this, the re-airing of this show from lashtouTmedianetwork.com tomorrow, 10 to 11:30. I'm on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, uh, TuneIn, Anchor, all those places. My link is in my profile. You can catch me at Real Prince Blue on Twitter, at Real Prince Blue on Instagram, just Prince Blue, damn it, on Facebook. I love my wife. Oh yeah, great job, my princess. Yes, thank you, honey. I'm out. Please salute, Chante, be
Thank you
safe.
so much for
Uh,
having me.
what's that name of the app? It was POF, wasn't it?
No, it was not people.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Everybody, see ya. Be safe. Please do the right thing as always. I'm out. Thank you. Oh yeah, shout out to France. Somebody is downloading my podcast in France. Shout out to France. Simple blue
Okay.
blah blue. Simple bleu. Whatever that is. Shout out to y'all. I love my French people. I love French
Oh,
fries.
man.
All right, I'm out.